Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vasel and Sam Healey.
Hey folks, today we are taking a look at King's Forge. I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Sam Healey.
King's Forge is a game produced by GameSalute, and you can tell that because inside the box are unnecessary tuck boxes.
Tuck boxes! Yeah!
I like tuck boxes if they're needed. This is one of the few games, this is one of the many games that doesn't need them. But anyhow, this game does come with a lot of dice.
Yes.
And that had me excited. In fact, I did do the paid preview for this game, so take my everything with a grain of salt, blah, 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 because obviously they bought me off and whatever. But Sam didn't. So let's take a look at the game, and we'll be back. The first thing you're going to notice is that there's lots and lots of dice. There's metal dice, there's wood dice, there's gem dice, the blue dice are magic dice, there's library dice, and then there's this one purple cemetery die. Now each person's going to start with 5 metal dice. You're going to put these on your forge. Each person has a forge card which has 2 sides. You can pick your, forge symbol. And at the beginning of a round, you're going to take those dice off. When you use dice, they get put on there, or when you get more dice, they get put on there. So you can only use the dice that are off the forge. Now, you're going to have some gather cards in this game. And the game comes with several gather cards, but you have 4 that you're always going to use, and then you'll randomly add 7 more to that pile of 4, so that there's 11 of them used per game. And so what you'll do at the beginning of each round of the game is you're going to turn over 4 of these cards up here at the top, and the rest will be a draw pile. And then we start. Now the goal of this game is to forge things for the king. You're trying to forge some stuff, make the king happy. And the things you're going to forge are randomly pulled from a pile down here at the bottom, and they're placed in numerical order. There's a whole ton that aren't being used in this game, including ones where you can make your own, even though I've never seen anyone ever do that in any game ever. But, so you have the 3 lowest number ones are available to be built. So for this one to be built, you need 3 black dice, 3 metal dice that are 2 or higher. This one needs 2 dice that are black dice that are 5 or higher. This needs 2 green dice, one that's a 2 or 3 higher. So I don't have any green dice. So we go around the table, starting with the first person, who has this gigantic plastic anvil to show that they go first. And you have some options. Now you can take a card here from one of these gathered cards and do one of the 2 actions on it. Now, what this means here is I need to roll a die. If I roll the die and get a 4 or higher, I get a green die. Hooray! Down here, I need to put a blue or a red die on this card, which will either allow me to add 2 to one of my dice or take a green die. And the clock above it means I can do it whenever I want. This up here means I need to put 4 dice on this card if I take this one. One of them I'm going to lose forever. The other 3, I just won't get back to the end of the round, and that gives me a red die. Or I can put 7 dice in this card of any type to get a blue die. Here, 2 dice gives me a green die. Here, 1 die of my choice allows me to add 2 to one of my dice later on. Here, any 2 dice gives me 2 more black dice, or 2 dice lets me re-roll my dice once per that round. So these cards are going to change. There's all sorts of different combinations that will show up when I pick the action I'm going to do, and then it's replaced. And this will continue. Players will keep going until either all the cards are gone, until all the players have passed. Here, 2 green dice gives me a red. Here, I lose 2 green dice to get 2 reds. If I take this card, I simply get a black die. Here, I lose 7 dice, but I get a blue and a red, and they go into my hand immediately. So there's all sorts of things that you can do. There's all different cards that will come up over the course of the game. Usually they're all about the black, green, red, and blue dice, but occasionally the purple or the white dice will come into effect. You can also visit the docks. These are 4 tiles here To go to the docks, you simply will take one of these cards and not use it, turn it face down in front of you, and use the docks. The docks are there so you can always get what you want, but they have X's through them, which means the dice you put there will be lost. So here I can get a red die, but I have to lose 3 dice. They're gone, but at least I get a red die. And these can be used multiple times by players. This one here gives you this token, which gives you a +1/+1. You can add 1 to your dice. This one here gives you a 6. You can change one of your dice automatically to a 6. And then you got red, green, and blue dice. Now, the first person to pass gets a black die or gets one of these +1 tokens that they add. And like I said, this will go around to everyone that's passed or there's no more actions to take. Then each player in turn order is going to roll any dice that you haven't used, and you're going to try to get one of these. Now let's say I have 4 dice left over. So I roll, and I get a 2, 3, and a 5. And I say, hooray, that's enough to take the anvil here. All right, I'm going to build the anvil. I needed a 2, 2, or 2 or higher. I roll a 2, 3, or 5. I take that card and put it in front of me. However, if another player, let's say they roll 5 dice, and they say, I have a 3, 5, and 5. If they have the same dice as me and at least one of their dice is higher than one of mine, they can steal that from me. And another player can steal it from them. Once everyone has gone, though, the last person who has it gets to keep it and put it underneath their forge. When you built 4 of these, you win the game. And as you can see, as the numbers progress and as another one will come out to be available, but you can see these final ones. This one here needs 3 black dice that are 6 or higher and a blue, where this one needs 5 greens and a red. So you're going to need lots of different colors, and you can see what's coming ahead so you can prepare. After each person has had one chance where they roll their dice once, there's possible modifiers. You can change them to a 6 with this yellow, add 1, there's add 2s, there's a few re-roll cards that you may have taken. But once you're done with that roll, you see if you can forge anything. If you can forge something, you do so, or you can steal something from someone else. And then we bring down the next one. After each player has had a chance to do that once, the round is over. We reshuffle the 11 gather cards, start another round of drafting and grabbing dice, and we keep going till someone gets 4 of these and that person wins. Okay, before we get into the final opinions, obviously, you gotta admit, you like the concept of the game.
Yeah.
Where you get dice and buy better dice and roll dice and use those to get things. The idea of taking special cards that gives you abilities or rolling to see if you get lucky to get a die, all that is good.
Yeah.
And I know that's things you like.
Mm-hmm.
So why doesn't that gel together for you?
I tell you, the thing that really kind of got me with this game is that I didn't... Again, this is before final thoughts. The one thing that I really didn't enjoy the most about the game is how you got the extra dice. The fact that you had to, in many cases, give away a lot of dice for 1 die. Or a couple of dice for a couple of other kinds of dice, and they might help you out later on. And then, on top of that, you had to roll a certain numbers in order to be able to use them. You have all the right dice, but now you have to roll the right numbers, and that could be really problematic if you are a person that dice hate. There are ways to mitigate it because you can buy the +1er and the automatic 6 and all of those kinds of things. You can do all of that, but
it still might not work.
It's still, yeah, you still might not be able to pull it off, and that can be really, really frustrating, especially if it happens a lot in one game.
Well, it only needs to happen a few times for you to lose.
Right.
See, I disagree with your first point. I actually like the whole upgrading dice. I don't mind giving dice to get more dice. I thought that was interesting, and you also have kind of the option. You don't have to ever get rid of stuff. You can just slowly take more dice.
Yeah, but that's the key word, slowly. Everybody else is rocketing past you.
But the thing is, if you concentrate on a certain number of dice, and you do roll for a specific item, and you fail, or someone gets to go before you, and they get it, and their numbers are too high, and you can't roll higher than them, or you go first and get it, and someone rolls higher and steals it from you, that can feel frustrating because you're not rolling enough in the game. And I think that might be where the problem is for you.
Yeah.
You don't roll the dice enough.
That's probably...
There's a few major times where you're rolling dice, and it's
but otherwise
all
you're
in.
just accumulating the dice, and they're sitting there, they're looking pretty. One of the things I did like about the game, though, is it did have that Toledo feel to it, that you're trying to put the right kinds of things together to make the best kind of weapon or the best kind of device or armor or something like that. And I enjoyed the Martin Wallace game Toledo a lot because of that. I enjoyed that aspect of going through the markets and accumulating the right resources and presenting the king with the best thing. And that kind of has the same feel to it. So I kind of liked it. It's just that the dice rolling aspect was, it can be really frustrating, and then you can have somebody just have absolute, total, complete luck and get everything they need. And I know that's part of dice rolling games. I don't know. It's just not enough on this one, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting game, and I'm giving it a tentative a partially built thumb up. Because there's parts of the game I really liked.
Yeah.
My problems with the game are the whole part where you accumulate dice, that's cool, but that's like 80% of the game.
Yeah.
And I wish that there was less and that the rolling the dice was more, that you got to roll the dice more often and do more things with them, because that'd be interesting. As it is, you're like build, and the roll is almost anticlimactic.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the idea is cool. I like it. It works. It's just, for me, merely entertaining, nothing great. So, a half, maybe 3/4 of, well, like I said, partially built thumb up.
Yeah, partially built thumb up. Some of them, I mean, the mechanics are cool. It's just kind of clunky, I guess. Again, there wasn't really anything that reached out and grabbed me and said, like me. And because of that, I just didn't. It had some over-the-top things. First player marker I thought was unnecessary. The player boards, also unnecessary, that they're just there to...
Well, I thought they were necessary because the dice on or off didn't matter. I would forget otherwise.
I guess so. But I mean...
But that first player marker, talk about a extravagant...
Yeah, not necessary.
I don't mind it, though.
The dice actually look cool. The dice
good
that come
quality.
with the game are very good quality. And
I would show them to you, but they're in a tuck box right now. See how good quality they are? This box has like 5 dice in it.
Just open it.
Well, I've already shown everybody the dice. Yeah, but the dice they're the small dice that I like, and the pips are easy to read. They're fun to roll. They're good dice.
They're good dice. They didn't chinch you out on it. But again, I think there's good. Yeah, that's first player token. Necessary, right? But I mean, seriously, they didn't do poorly on the production. They has great artwork, very aesthetically pleasing. The dice are very well done. Tuck boxes are, hit or miss depending on who you are. Rulebook wasn't that difficult to understand. It's
pretty simple.
It was pretty simple, easy to understand.
You haven't given us a thumb yet.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think I want to give it a thumb.
So you just want to give it neutral or down? I'm
neither here nor there. If somebody wants to play the game, I'll play it. I'm never gonna ask to play this game. There are so many dice rolling games that are out there that you either have to hitch your pony to one of those other systems and build a game around that, or you have to come up with something that's new and fresh and exciting. And this just isn't. I won't mind playing this game, but I'm never going to ask for it. So I'll just give it a neutral blah thumb.
All right. That is King's Forge. That is King's Forge from GameSalute.
Use 2 hands.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.